One.
Okay. Good afternoon. It is 5:30 p.m. The regular meeting and public hearing by video conference during disaster due to COVID-19 of the Board of Trustees of San Elizario I.S.D. held this October 14, 2020 is now called to order. Mr. Madrid, roll call, please.
President, let the record show that all board members are present with the exception of Ms. Irene Huckes.
Thank you, Mr. Madrid. Thank you. And we will now, oh no. I am sorry. Okay. We do have quorum, so we'll begin now with the script for the meeting. On March 16th, Governor Greg Abbott granted a request by Attorney General Ken Paxton to temporarily suspend a limited number of open meetings laws to the extent necessary to allow telephonic or video conference meeting in response to the coronavirus. In accordance with those suspended rules, we certify the following. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. Although members of the board are not gathered in a central physical location, we do have a quorum in attendance at this meeting by a telephone call and internet access. We are meeting by use of both telephone conference call, online access, and through use of email link for questions. If a member of the public submitted written comments in advance, the board president or a member of the administration will read the comments into record before or during the board's consideration of that item. If you would like to provide comments at a future meeting conducted by video conference or telephone call, please follow instructions on the meeting notice. All other meeting procedures will adhere to board adopted procedures to the extent practicable. An audio recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. We apologize in advance for any unforeseeable difficulties and ask for your patience as we navigate unprecedented conditions. If you have any questions about these suspended laws, please call the Office of the Attorney General at 888-672-6787 or by email at toma@oag.texas.gov. With this, we will now proceed to the Pledge of Allegiance. May we rise?
Hello?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll now proceed with the San Elizario I.S.D. mission statement. San Elizario I.S.D. mission is to graduate students with skills to meet the demands of a changing world by promoting student success is non-negotiable. Channeling resources to match the learning needs of students, employ and retain quality staff so that San Elizario is a proud, innovative, and academically superior district. Okay. We'll now proceed to open forum. Ms. Christine, did anyone sign up for open forum?
No, Ms. Licon, no one has signed up for any items in open forum.
Thank you, Ms. Christine. We'll now proceed to item 3, district recognitions. 3A, Teacher Employee of the Month for Zambrano Elementary School. Presenter, Ms. Norma Casillas, Principal, and it begins on your page 8.
Good afternoon, Board President Licon, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Mesa Chavez. It is with an honor this evening that I present our Employee of the Month and Teacher of the Month for Zambrano. I'm going to start with our Employee of the Month, Christine Herrera. She is our librarian at Zambrano, and I've only worked with her a few months, but her work ethic and what she brings to our teachers and our students is 100% every day. She is just not the librarian. She is a support for teachers when it comes to technology. She helps them troubleshoot. She also helps with our Book of the Month literacy information for our parents, and she's also our GT teacher and meets with our students weekly. I've learned so much with her as far as the virtual world, and she has had so much patience with me and teaching me about the virtual world and teaching in this world and what teachers need as far as support. So I have not only a phenomenal librarian, but a wonderful, another instructional specialist on top of that. So it is with great pleasure and an honor to serve in these few months that I've been with her to recognize Miss Christine Herrera.
Good evening, President Nicole, Superintendent Dr. Mr. Chavez, and members of the board. I'm honored to be here for this event with you. It's been my pleasure to serve the Sunny community for 15 years in the classroom and the last 2 as a librarian. I am truly humbled, and I'm beyond words to be nominated for as the Employee of the Month. I would like to thank my campus administrators, Ms. Casillas and Ms. Gutierrez, for their undying support and guidance. I don't think we could have gotten through all this without their guidance and support, so I thank you very much. As we tread through these unfamiliar waters, we continue to learn and adapt in this ever-changing world, and we've managed to form new relationships to help our students grow and learn. During this learning experience, a window of opportunity has been opened up for us to collaborate and work with our teachers and staff much closer, and to ensure that our students are academically successful. And not only that, but for their well-being. I respect and admire my fellow colleagues for their hard work and dedication, and I'm honored to be working right alongside them. I thank you, and I look forward to some learning.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ms. Herrera.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
She was my support system. She was the person that would come and tell me, the teachers aren't happy. That's not something we should be doing. Da, da, da. She would just lay the cards on the table, tell it like it is, and support me in any way, fashion, or manner that I needed as a brand new principal. She is a phenomenal teacher. And let me tell you about Miss Martinez. She has taken on the students with difficulties with behavior or learning disabilities and works with co-teaching, and those students are so successful in her class as well as the rest. She is a teacher mentor this year. She is mentoring I lost my words. She is mentoring a brand new first-year teacher, and she is also mentoring a student teacher who is attaining her degree in December. So she is a master teacher when it comes to guided reading and reader's workshop. She is a leader in her grade level, and I turn to her always for her honesty and her love, because her love of her children and our students is steadfast. And so it has been an honor working with her and serving with her, and I'm glad that she's back this year with me because I missed her. And so it is with great pleasure to let you know our teacher of the month at Zambrano is Ms. Valerie Martinez.
Thank you very much. I apologize. I don't like talking in public very often. Good evening, Ms. Licon, Board President, Superintendent, Dr. Mesa Chavez, and members of the board. I thank you so much for this honor and for this opportunity. It's true, I really don't like talking in front of people. I want to thank my administration. They're very supportive. I love the opportunity to work with Ms. Casillas again. It was a little scary moving campuses, but finding I was going to be with her made it worth it. I was ready. And I'm privileged to work with the staff here at Zambrano Elementary. Everyone has been so helpful and wonderful. I consider it an honor to be recognized by my campus, especially when I see all these amazing teachers around me who are doing such an amazing job, considering the unusual circumstances we find ourselves in. But we all work together. Everyone helps everyone else. I consider it a blessing to be here with you today and to be on this campus and in this district. There's nowhere else I'd rather be than in San Elizario, working with these amazing students, these wonderful kids, and working with such dedicated individuals as all of you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Martinez, congratulations.
Yes, congratulations to both ladies.
Congratulations. I can't see. Is anyone else having trouble seeing everybody?
Yeah, I am, Michelle.
Yeah,
See, there you go. We lost a lot of people. There you go.
you did.
Yeah. Yes.
Dr. Mesa, are you still with us?
I'm here.
So we have Ms. Casillas. Is she still with us? Or,
I'm still here.
oh, there you go. Yes. I think we're just, everybody's coming in and out of frame. Thank you. Thank you. Have an amazing campus. Thank you. Yes. Okay.
Gona, if I could say something really quick.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to congratulate Ms. Herrera and Ms. Martinez. I actually have had the pleasure of working with both of these educators. I worked with Ms. Herrera when she was a teacher and Ms. Martinez when she was at Borrego. And I can tell you from experience, from knowing them personally, that they do an excellent job and they really do go above and beyond for everyone on campus. Congratulations to both of you. Well deserved.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. With that, that concludes our Teacher of the Month and Employee of the Month for Zambrano. We'll now proceed to item 3B. October is Principals Month. Presenter, Dr. Rogelio Segovia, Associate Superintendent, and that one does begin on page 8 in our board book. Dr. Segovia, you have the floor.
Good evening, President Licon, board members, and Dr. Mesa Chavez. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, sir.
This is my favorite part of the board meeting when we're recognizing the wonderful individuals in our district. And we get to recognize our principals this month because not just a day, it's a whole month of principals recognition. If I could direct you to page 8 in your board book, I know we also have it on the screen. You'll see there our campus principals, starting with Mrs. Marioni, April Marioni from San Elizario High School, Mr. Richard Salcido at Garcia Enriquez Middle School, Ms. Leticia de Santos at Alarcón Elementary, Ms. Teresa Wilkes at Borrego Elementary, Mrs. Norma Casillas at Zambrano Elementary, and Mrs. Julissa Esquivel at Loya Primary. Let me just say that our principals truly lead with courage and love. They take care of our students, they take care of our faculty and staff as if they were their own family. And so that is definitely something to admire. I know that I definitely admire them for their service. So we do want to thank them for their service. We do have some plaques for them. We will be presenting them once we return so that we continue the celebration throughout this month. I would encourage the entire community listening to send out some either emails or some nice phone calls to our principals just so they feel recognized by our community as well. I'm privileged and honored to serve along their side. And so it is National Principals Month, and we do want to recognize our principals. This concludes my presentation.
Ms. Licon?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd also like to take a moment to really thank our principals for all of the work that they continue to do. It's been a privilege working with them, especially since they've been witness to, we have a meeting and then I've often concluded with, and be prepared for this to change, and so it does. And so I want to thank them for being as flexible as they've been and understanding, and keeping such a positive outlook for our teachers, for all of our staff, and for really understanding all the pivots we've had to take. So I can't think of a better time to be serving with the individuals we have with us here right now. You see their pictures on the screen, but just know that this is true leadership that we're looking at right now. So I appreciate their service to our students, and thank you for all you do, principals.
Yes, and I would like to also resonate that and thank our principals for being outstanding and the great visionary leaders that they are. We're supporting our students during this time, supporting the teachers, having those wonderful community relations with the parents, including everyone. So together, hand in hand, we can continue to see our students succeed. But again, it takes this wonderful leadership team to keep seeing our district through. So thank you all very, very much, and virtual hugs to you all. And we celebrate you every single day, not just this month, but every single day we celebrate you. Thank you very much. Anyone
I would
else?
like to also say, this is Mrs. Hernandez. I echo the same sentiment, Mrs. Licon. I appreciate everything that the principals are doing, especially right now during these unprecedented times, to have our students be successful, like Ms. Licon said. I just want to say you're very much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you all very much. And if no one else has anything else, I will now continue to item C, Human Resources Day. Presenter, Ms. Blanca Cruz, Human Resources Director. And this one begins on page 9 of our book, please.
Ms. Licon, before we move on to Ms. Cruz, I'd like to say
Yes,
a few
sir.
words and read the resolution. And so let me get started. Good evening, President Licon, board members, and Dr. Mesa Chavez. HR work is definitely work of the heart. We do have a dream team in our HR department. They never forget the human side of their responsibilities, and they always serve with kindness. So I'd like to direct you to page 9. No, sorry, 9 is where you see their pictures. We have Mrs. Cruz, Blanca Cruz, who's our director of HR. We have Debbie Bendercourt, part of the department, Ms. Elizabeth Guerrero, Ms. Fanny Gallardo, Mrs. Yvette Schuler, and Mr. Robert Gallegos. All of them do a wonderful job. And if you look at page 10, I'll read the resolution. The resolution reads as follows. Whereas the Human Resources Division is instrumental in recruiting, selecting, resourcing, and retaining quality staff in support of providing an excellent education for all students, and whereas Human Resources plays a key role in fostering satisfaction and loyalty among employees by allowing the professional growth and development and keeping employees informed about policies, working conditions, compensations, and benefits. And whereas Human Resources monitors and manages current and future workforce trends, organizational cultures, legal and legislative trends, and ethical and social responsibility. And whereas Human Resources is an important part of the district leadership and is vital to the overall productivity and efficiency of the district's workforce. And whereas Human Resources is a valued and respected department that sustains the district's most important assets, its people. Therefore, the Board of Trustees of San Elizario Independent School District does hereby resolve that October 14th, 2020 will be observed as Texas Education Human Resources Day throughout the district. The board also encourages students, staff, and parents to express their appreciation to our human resources team members for the dedication and commitment to SAISD employees and students. It is signed by our board president, Sandra E. Licon, dated this month, October 2nd, 2020. Thank you.
Congratulations, Human Resources.
Thank you, Dr. Segovia. Good evening, President Licon, board members, and Dr. Mesa Chavez. I just want to jump in and say thank you to the team because there's no way that we could be able to get through, especially this year, which Dr. Mesa Chavez is right. Every time she says, be ready to change. So they're always ready to change and make adjustments, and they do it with a smile. So I am thankful for my work family. I'm thankful for all of you for the support. And congrats to our principals. They get a whole month. We get a day, but I'll take it. It's okay. So thank you. Thank you to all of you guys.
Well, we'll celebrate you every single day as well because you all are a great part of our family and CISD and the team. And thank you for exactly, greeting everyone with a smile, being there courteous, but also providing a positive culture that filters throughout the district. So thank you very, very much. And again, we'll celebrate you every single day of the year.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Hugs to you all. Anyone else?
I'd like to, Board President Licon, just obviously thank Ms. Cruz for her leadership in the Human Resource Department. She's taken a department who, there was a lot to do in there, but she has worked with each one of her team members and helped to develop each one of their skills to get them to grow in their capacity. And I can't think of a better individual to do that. And I'm thankful for all of the other members of the team who have stepped right up and have continued to remain positive. And so I know that myself, as well as the cabinet team, individuals in payroll, everybody's thankful for the collaboration that there is from the HR department because they are the heart of what helps our employees understand when things get difficult like we've had this past year. So thank you, Ms. Cruz and your entire department.
Thank you, Dr. Mesa Chavez.
And that concludes our district recognitions, Ms. Licon.
Thank you, Dr. Segovia. Okay, we will now proceed to item 4, executive session. The board will enter into a closed meeting to discuss personnel matters, to consult with attorney, to discuss real estate matters, to consider recommendations for hiring of personnel or termination of personnel and other personnel matters under section 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. Item 4A, discussion on employee, board, and superintendent communication. 4B, a discussion regarding possible updates and revisions to the board operating procedures. 4C, discussion regarding Spectrum's proposed settlement agreement and possible amendment to the service contract for the WAN for the one product leased lines E-rate year 23 RFP number 201070. This will be presenter Mrs. Priscilla Mata, legal counsel. And item 4D, discussion regarding appointment and disbursement of settlement funds to SEISD, including appointment of a physical agent for receipt of district funds in the Public Utility Commission of Texas, proceeding related to the sale, transfer, or merger of El Paso Electric Company to Sun Jupiter Holdings LLC and IIF US Holdings 2LP, entities related to JP Morgan Infrastructure Investment Fund, PUC docket number 49849, joint report and application of El Paso Electric Company, Sun Jupiter Holdings LLC, and IIF US Holdings 2LP for regulatory approvals under PURA 14.101.39.262 and 39.915. Presenter will be Mrs. Priscilla Mata, legal counsel, and we will go into executive session at 5:55 p.m. Please mute your computers and turn off your cameras so we can go into executive session.
2, 1.
Okay. It is now 7:07 p.m. The board will return to open session to take possible action on the matters discussed in executive session. Item 5A, discussion and possible action to approve updates and revisions to the board operating procedures as discussed in closed session. Floor is open for discussion. Okay, if there is no discussion, may I entertain a motion?
I so move.
Okay, Ms. Garcia, you make a motion to. Okay, a second by Ms. Romero to approve item 5A. Mr. Madrid, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Ms. Garcia?
Aye.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Aye.
Mrs. Romero?
Aye.
And Sandra Ligon? Aye. Okay, motion carries. We'll proceed to item 5B, discussion and possible action to approve additional board training on applicable laws and board operating procedures. Floor is open for discussion. No discussion. Then may I entertain a motion, please?
I so move.
And who was that?
Ms. Garcia.
Okay, Garcia, Ms. Garcia.
I second. This is Ms. Hernandez.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Ms. Garcia, seconded by Ms. Hernandez. Mr. Madrid, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Thank you. Mrs. Garcia?
Aye.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Aye.
Ms. Romero?
Aye.
Sandra Ligon? Aye. Motion carries. Okay, proceeding to item 5C, discussion and possible action to approve Spectrum's proposed settlement agreement and accordingly authorize legal counsel to proceed with any necessary amendment to the service contract for the WAN project leased lines E-rate year 23 RFP number 20-1070. Floor is open for discussion. Okay, if there is no discussion, may I entertain a motion?
I move to approve item 5C
Thank you,
as
Ms.
discussed.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. May I have a
I
second?
second.
Okay, a second by Ms. Romero. Okay, motion on the floor by Ms. Hernandez, second by Ms. Romero. Mr. Madrid, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Mrs. Garcia?
Aye.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Aye.
Ms. Romero?
Aye.
Sandra Lico, myself? Aye. Motion carries. Okay, we'll proceed now to item 5D. Okay, discussion and possible action to approve appointment and disbursement of settlement funds to I.S.D, appoint a fiscal agent to both receive and tender to the district in apportioned funds in the Public Utility Commission of Texas, PUC, proceeding related to the sale, transfer, or merger of El Paso Electric Company to Sun Jupiter Holdings LLC and IIF US Holdings 2LP, entities related to JP Morgan Infrastructure Investments Fund, PUC docket number 49849, joint report and application of El Paso Electric Company, Sun Jupiter Holdings LLC, and IIF US Holdings 2LP for regulatory approvals under PURA 14.101, 39.262, and 39.915. Okay. Ms. De Mata?
Good evening, Board President, board members, and Dr. Mesa Chavez. I apologize for that language, but I assure you it's necessary and I blame El Paso Electric for it. So here I wanted to propose, I know we've discussed this in closed session, but what I'd like to propose to you all is the following motion, and it's twofold, so I'm going to read that to you all for your consideration because it's also somewhat lengthy. The proposed motion is that that the board approve the El Paso Independent School District to serve as the fiscal agent for the receipt of the settlement proceeds in the matter on behalf of the Rate 41 group, including the San Elizario Independent School District, and further motion that the board approve the division of those proceeds to the San Elizario Independent School District according to the previously approved Rate 41 usage percentages used as the basis for the allocation of attorney's fees for the Rate 41 group in the matter.
If there's no discussion, I so move.
I second.
Second it.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Ms. Garcia for item 5D, seconded by Mr. Madrid. Mr. Madrid, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Mrs. Garcia?
Aye.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Aye.
Ms. Romero?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. So now we will now proceed to item 6, consent agenda. Consider possible board action on items 6A through J2. Are there any items you'd like to pull out?
President Licon, this is Trustee Garcia. I would like to pull item H on page 112 for us to read. Well, Ms. Mata.
Other than that, any other items you'd like to pull out, Board of Trustees? If not, then may I entertain a motion for items 6A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I, J, up to J2. I have a motion for those items.
I move to approve the consent agenda items A through J with the exception of H.
Thank you. That was easier. Thank you. Second?
I second.
Was that Ms. Garcia?
Yes, ma'am.
Second by Ms. Garcia. Thank you. Mr. Madrid, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Okay, Ms. Garcia?
Aye.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Aye.
Ms. Romero?
Aye.
Mrs. Licon? Aye. Okay, motion carries. We'll now return to item H, letter to Commissioner Morath. And Ms. Mata, legal counsel, will you read item on page, letter to Commissioner Morath on page 112 and 113? Please.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
So Board President, board members, Dr. Mesa Chavez, I'm going to read to you the letter that was prepared on your behalf to Education Commissioner Morath. And the letter states as follows. Dear Commissioner Morath, we, the Board of Trustees and the Superintendent of the San Elizario Independent School District, are writing to inform you of continuing and growing concerns about the pandemic's impact on our district, our students, our employees, and our community at large. Put simply, our small agricultural community has been devastated by the effects of COVID-19, and TEA has failed to acknowledge and address the unique frustrations that we and other comparably sized districts face. To date, TEA has failed to provide school districts with any meaningful waivers as they relate to this school year's funding requirements, student attendance requirements, and standardized testing. First, we ask that you revisit your decision to continue the STAR test and other accountability measures this school year. We closely monitor TEA guidance, and it is our understanding that there will be no waivers nor exceptions made for conducting and complying with the state of Texas assessments of academic readiness, otherwise known as STAR, T-tests, and A through F state accountability ratings. Your decision to do so fails to fully acknowledge and address the very real and practical concerns raised by so many school districts across the state. We sincerely and respectfully invite you to our community in San Elizario, Texas. Walk our hallways, sit in on classroom instruction, attend virtual classes, and meet with district leaders, students, parents, teachers, and other stakeholders to understand the daunting and grave nature of our new normal as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Second, we ask that you provide us with the guidance and authority for decision-making at the local level to meaningfully address the organizational and operational needs of our district. Some of these needs include the following. Allow school districts to determine in-person instruction based on local health conditions without penalty to funding. Fully fund districts regardless of the mode of instruction, whether that be face-to-face, synchronous, or asynchronous, the entire school year. Suspend the STAR. Suspend the A through F system of accountability. Provide additional funding to supplement costs incurred by districts due to COVID-19 safety precautions. Establish a hold harness for average daily attendance for the entire school year. And lastly, simplify attendance accounting for synchronous and asynchronous learning. Third, we ask that you rectify the short-sighted and offensive public remarks you recently made concerning educators. During a virtual fireside chat regarding the state of public education, you brushed aside all sincere pleas by school districts to suspend the STAR test this year, opining that teaching without some form of testing is just talking. Your statement cannot be more fundamentally flawed. Although your expectation is that we should be able to assess our students in April, you ignore the hurdles, barriers, and real-life changes students and teachers face leading up to these springtime assessments. You also assume that the STAR test remains an effective tool for assessing student learning without any regard to the variables brought about by COVID-19 and its particularly devastating and disproportionate impact on minorities, like the predominantly Hispanic population we serve. Simply put, there are very real equity issues that will be further aggravated by TEA's shortcomings in response to this deadly virus. In your words, quote, "To succeed, we must first make schools safe for students, staff, teachers, and families," end quote. We agree. Time is of the essence, Commissioner, and this pandemic's history will judge us all by the leadership we exemplified, our swift and deliberate action, our deference to science, and real data, along with our sincere mitigation efforts, and the level of attention and compassion provided to our parents, school children, their teachers, and the communities we proudly serve. Respectfully, Board President Sandra Licon, Dr. Jeannie Mesa Chavez, Superintendent, Board Vice President Irene D. Jaques, Board Secretary Bernie Madrid, Board Trustee Rebecca M. Romero, Board Trustee Eduardo Chavez, Board Trustee Myrna Hernandez, and Board Trustee Michelle Garcia.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mata.
My pleasure.
I would like to entertain a motion, Ms. Licon.
Okay.
I second.
So we have a motion on the floor for item H by Ms. Garcia and second by Ms. Romero. Mr. Madrid, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Mrs. Garcia?
Aye.
Mrs. Hernandez?
Aye.
Ms. Romero?
Aye.
And Ms. Licon, aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Now we'll proceed to item 7, new business and board action items. Thank you, Ms. Mata.
Sure.
Item 7A, focus on student outcome goals. 7A1, Zambrano Elementary School, monitor student progress. Presenter, Mrs. Norma Casillas, the principal on page 130, well, begins on 130. Ms.
Good evening,
Casillas?
Board President, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Mesa Chavez. Well, let's start with our mission and vision statement. For Zambrano, again, this is my first year here, and it is a K-2 campus, and we inherited a lot of teachers from Zambrano and other campuses, so we had to come up with another mission and vision statement. And so for us, we, the faculty and staff at Josefa L. Zambrano Elementary, are committed to excellence. We strive to create a secure and positive learning environment in which students are encouraged to develop intellectually, physically, socially, and emotionally. Our vision, the faculty and staff at Josefa L. Zambrano Elementary are committed to establishing a professional learning community that fosters trustworthy relationships while promoting high expectations that will develop lifelong learners who are confident, competent, and contributing members of society. So when we look at our data, we're going to start with our kinder data in mathematics. Even though we're doing dual language in kinder, our math across the board with our dual language and bilingual classes are in English. So if you look to the far left, we're looking at August 2020 data where it says overall, and we're looking at 62% in the darker green. And I don't know if you remember, we're looking at the green in tiers. It's tier 1, olive green, tier 2 in yellow, and tier 3 in red. But here we're looking at levels, and we wanted to put it into perspective when we're looking into what it looks like for stars. So the dark green would be at masters, and then the light green would be at MET, and of course the lighter green would be at approaches. So our yellow and our red, overall, these students are needing interventions, they're needing extra help, and so that is what the data we're looking at. So from kinder August to September 2020, you'll see the overall. If we're looking at the masters, the darker green, it went from 62 to 61, and then you can relate it back and forth. We're looking at our tier 3 or level 1, 9% in August and in September. And you know what? It's really tough to look at the iStation data because in our kinder classes, when we're taking a test virtually, we can't keep the parents from helping them. We can see their parents' fingers in there helping them, even though we try to monitor as much as possible. So to say that this is true data is very different than if we were on campus. On campus, we can bring them into the computer lab. We let them know this is a test. They have to do their very best. And then they take the test by themselves. So I just wanted to let you know when we're looking at this data that it is very different in the virtual world. Next, we'll look at first grade math data, and it's the same thing overall. First grade in August in comparison to first grade in September 2020, and you can see the levels there. We went from 17% in level 1 in red to 22%. I think the truer data is in second grade because there's not very many parents that help their kids like in kinder and first. So if we go to our second grade math data, you'll see that our approaches, meets, and masters, the green, darker green and light green, where we're at, and then where we're struggling. So not only do we have the summer slide, we have the COVID slide, and these kids have missed that direct instruction. So how do we get them there? So what we've implemented at Zambrano is we continue to say, how can we give them guided interventions? So on our next slide, we have our math interventions. Everybody gets the core content instruction. They come in and it's for math time. When we passed out our resources at the beginning of the year, we passed out manipulatives that they would be needing. We passed out folders, what it looks like in kinder, first and second. The folders had the place value charts, the 100 charts, the 10 frame, the 5 frame. And so that way they had the manipulatives there. So if we had to pull out their place value charts, the teacher has it on her, can model for them, and the students have the manipulatives to help them alongside within the small group instruction and also whole group. So what we have for math interventions, teachers also have their small group interventions after their whole group, and they meet with their small groups daily. Teachers provide systematic and explicit instruction in small groups. So if they're struggling with number concepts or with whatever has been delivered as far as instruction, this is where they targeted where they're struggling. Teachers are using formative assessment. So we're not just using iStation. Debbie has been very helpful in creating for kinder and first these formative assessments for our teachers to utilize in the small group and to look at how they're learning. With second grade, we're utilizing Sharon Wells, so that's a little bit better for our second graders to have those formative assessments and informal. So they have adjusted their instruction accordingly. Teachers are creating research-based lessons for our students, and teachers are using visual representations such as number lines and, like I said, the folders and the manipulatives that went home. They have those with them. Our teachers are also asking our students to face their camera to their hands so that when we're looking at a concept, we can see their thinking. If you have 3 of this, let's add 2 more. And the students are all showing their hands with the manipulatives along to make sure that the teachers can see how they're doing. So that's what we're doing for math. If we're looking at kinder reading, it is the dual language. So kinder lectura, this is our overall in August. If you look to the far left, we have 44%. And then we moved to September 2020 overall to 58%. Again, it's so hard to have the parents not help them. So what we've been trying to do is do it in small group. And then we literally are there and we have to tell the parents, Mom, you can't help them. He has to do it on his own. These are things that are struggles, our teacher struggles in the virtual world. And then we go to kinder early reading data. And this is in English. This is our dual language. So not only are we testing in English and in Spanish, they have their days when they're doing guided reading in English, guided reading in Spanish, the same thing. Of course, math is in English and in Spanish, but we're testing kinder in English. So then we go to our first grade, and first grade and second grade are not doing dual language. We're still in the bilingual time and treatment. So for first grade lectura, these are our Spanish results. And you have, I'm looking at the August 2020 overall at 38%. And then we're at 11% at level 1. And then September 2020, we're at 29% in masters. And of course, 21% in level 1 for those interventions. First grade reading in English, you have 18% in 2020 with the 20% in level 1, and then 15% at masters with the 29% at level 1. And then second grade Spanish, you have August 2020, the 13% with the 20% at level 1, and 2020 in September with the 23% to the 31%. And then we go to second grade English. And second grade at August was at 27% at level 5 or masters, and 24% at level 1 in leading interventions. And then we go to September at 27 to 24. So that stayed pretty much the same except in the middle. So with our reading interventions, everybody has guided reading. And during that guided reading interventions, teachers not only just looked at iStation because of the help that the parents have, but we found a way to do DRA and EDL and running records in our small group. So we have that data for our kinders. And first we did observation protocols where we saw if they needed the uppercase and lowercase, if they have those sight words, what they need as far as early reading interventions with phonological awareness and phonemic awareness. So teachers are targeting and have their groups in levels where they need that instruction in reading. So teachers provide focus and targeted instruction based on the data analysis, and we're looking more so in the running records and observation protocols. Teachers are working with small groups, guided reading, addressing students' needs, and to close those gaps that we're seeing. Teachers are teaching research-based lesson for diverse learners, and teachers are using formative assessments, like I said, the observation protocol, DRA, DL, and learning records. And teachers and students conference. We not only what's nice about this is that we can conference with the parents and tell them exactly what they need to do to help us after we're done with our small group. So we see our parents taking that initiative as well. So that has been a great help for us. So how we go into college and career and military readiness, we just had our college awareness week and our counselor did a phenomenal job. She had her Google Classroom, parents came in, she did a virtual college tours, CTE, introductions and information and how and training on FAFSA in case they had older students and what to do for them. We have our career week students explore different careers through STEM, and then we have our college awareness for faculty and staff. They wear their shirts on Wednesdays for those of them that are virtually and on our campus. Our attendance rate, it has been, let me tell you, we have everybody calling, counselor, librarian, instructional specialist, me, Ms. Gutierrez, our office staff. When those teachers can't reach out to those parents, we're calling those parents and helping them with our attendance. So in kinder, we're at 92.46, and first we're at 92.33, in second grade 93.79, and we are continuing to increase that. So our attendance interventions, we daily contact academic engagements. Teachers verify students' academic engagement daily, which includes participation in class. We have some parents that don't like to turn in their work through Google Classroom. They prefer Class Dojo. We'll take it any way that we can communicate with our parents. We have some parents that don't have internet connection at all and don't want their students to be on campus like the ones we have now. So we have packets that we send home every Monday, and they turn in the packet from the week before, and our teachers grade it, and it is aligned with their lesson plan. So we have that in place. It's just, like I said, an effort for everybody on the campus. Let me tell you about the attendance interventions and those with that have not had internet connectivity, or sometimes we have problems with an iPad or a Chromebook. I want to first thank Horacio and his team and our technology person. Let me tell you, they come in and they troubleshoot. They talk to parents. I think Horacio probably knows all our parents by name and kids. They are there for us. I mean, because I don't know how to troubleshoot. So Horacio, the teachers reach out to him, and he has been and him and his team have just been phenomenal. So if I don't get a chance to thank him often, thank you, Horacio, because we could not have done it without you. Walkthroughs. We're keeping up with our walkthroughs. Kids now know when we go in, oh, she's here. I try not to show my face because then it's a big distraction. So I'll try and come in without showing my face. I think the teachers told them when they see me, they need to behave. And so we're continuing our walkthroughs, and And sometimes it's nice because sometimes we'll even be able to come in and chat with the kids and help with the lessons. Our campus showcase and book of the month, like I said earlier, Christina Herrera has done a phenomenal job. We want to alleviate what teachers have to do what our teachers have to do with the book of the month. So to showcase for our teachers, we have our librarian that literally hand feeds the lessons for the book of the month, language to literacy, and it's across the content. And she does a great job when we meet with our teachers during PLC and they're engaging activities that are connecting with the student expectations. And so for me to say, if this was in the real world, usually the teachers, we pick a grade level and they showcase the book of the month and develop this for them. I just asked Christine and she goes, I can do it every month, Mrs. Casillas. They already have enough on their plate. And she is doing a phenomenal job and the kids enjoy it. Our teachers are just like, thank you so much for this, because it is hand-fed and we go through the activities together and talk about it. Is this going to be engaging enough for our students? On the next page, Horacio, we have our book of the month suggestions for LA language arts and science as well. And she continues, like I said, to help and assist our teachers with that. Our campus showcase, we have a great music teacher. She engages our students and dancing and clapping. And then we have two coaches, which I'm grateful for. They come in and they do their lessons, and they even decided, even during these 2 weeks, they told the students, we're going to have lessons up if you want to go up and and keep track of and make sure you're fit. They went ahead and did that for them, and in case our students wanted to come in. We have our parent literacy, monthly literacy that we do together with Loya, and also we celebrate our student of the month. Our counselor is great with our celebrations and our student of the month celebrations. And we invite parents and grandparents. We had our grandparent day just a few weeks ago. And so we celebrate them by grade level because we have a lot of parents attending in the Google Classroom along with grandparents. So we have our kinder first and second, and then on the last page is just a few pictures of what our virtual world looks like when we're celebrating our students. They know to have their what am I trying to say? Their mute button on during these virtual celebrations. So we clap like this. So all the kids know that we're clapping like this. And so that's how they know we're celebrating them. So we're not clapping, everybody's clapping at once. So, and before our students came back, those that were not connected, we had a campus virtual tour, especially because a lot of our kids hadn't been to Zambrano. So we did a virtual tour, what it would look like. And the parents did a virtual tour when they came in through open house as well. And just to ensure that we're following safety protocols and that we're ready for them when they do come back face to face. So, any questions?
I don't have any questions.
But I commend you for a splendid job. Thank you very much, Mrs. Casillas. This is Mrs. Romero.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
And I think you showed us, I think we can all do the same. Thank you for your hard work, and thank the staff.
Thank you.
Thank you for your honesty, Ms. Casillas, on the levels of for the numbers, for the how parents are helping. Thank you for your honesty in that way. We don't see a sudden decline later and wonder what's happening.
And so we're trying to do it now in smaller groups so we can tell the parents, no, don't. So hopefully it'll get better.
Okay, thank you. Good job.
Thank you, Ms. Casillas. Okay, with that said, we'll move on then to item 7B, overview of the financial integrity rating system of the Texas report. Presenter, Mr. Norberto Rivas, Chief Financial Officer. This begins in page 154 in our board book.
Good evening, Board President Licon, board members, and Superintendent Dr. Mrs. Chavez. I will be sharing my screen. Okay. Can you all see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So on page 154 of your board book, this is where you'll see the actual first report. And essentially what this PowerPoint is, it's print screens of the actual memo. So here's a brief history on page 154. It's the history of the first report. Essentially, TA comes up with the report and there's indicators. We have to present that report annually, and then we have to compare that, our indicator score for the current year with the prior year, and then any additional information required by the Commissioner of Education, which is 5 disclosures that we will get to at the end of this presentation. On page 154 at the very bottom, you'll also see the determination of the rating. Here, it's pretty much the scores. It shows the range for the scores and then what that translates to in terms of the rating A, B, C, or F. For the 2019-20 rating, which is based on fiscal year 2018-19, we received a score of 92 out of 100, which is an A. On the next page, on page 155, here you'll see a comparison with surrounding school districts. I show every single school district here within the county, and then I show current year score plus the 3 prior years. On the following page, on page 156 and page 157, here you'll see the actual report from TEA. So if you go to TEA's website and you want to download it, this is what it actually looks like. And then every single one of them, one of the indicators is embedded with a hyperlink where you can actually go in and see the details to the calculation. Now on page 158 is where I'll start comparing the current year score versus prior year scores. And there's 3 types of indicators. The first group is called the critical indicator. A lot of these, they don't have points. It's either a yes or a no. And essentially, if you have a no on any of these, you pretty much fail. So number 1, was the audit completed on time? Was it submitted to TA on time? Number 2, was it an unmodified opinion, meaning were the numbers correct? Were they legitimate? Number 2B, that the independent auditor report, that the annual financial report was free of material weaknesses. Number 3, were we in compliance with all debt agreements? Number 4, did we make timely payments to TRS for employee pensions, to the Texas Workforce Commission, to the IRS for employee withholdings? And then number 5, was the total unrestricted net asset balance essentially greater than 0? This one wasn't scored this year and it wasn't scored last year. There's GASB statements that have come out that essentially are forcing school districts to share the burden for the pension plan for both the retirement pension and the TRS care pension. And so that essentially took a lot of districts, it took their unrestricted net asset balances into the negative territories. So because of that, TA has not been scoring this indicator anymore. On the following page, on page 158 here, on page 159, here you see your solvency indicators. This is essentially cash flow. Do we have enough money to pay the bills? So once again, number 6, was there enough number of days on cash on hand? We scored all 10 points. On number 7, we did drop from 10 points last year to 8 points this year. And I'll go over the calculation a little bit later. Was the measure of current assets to current liabilities ratio for the school district sufficient to cover short-term debt? Number 8, we scored all 10. Number 9, we scored all 10. Number 10, we did gain some points. Last year we had 0 on this one. This year we gained 6 points. And then number 11, we stayed the same. We stayed the same on all of them, but the admin cost ratio is decreasing slowly. And then number 12, all 10 points. Finally, the last section is the financial competence indicators. Same thing on here. We received all 10 points on all three of them. These have to do more with variances. It's nothing that's too critical. These become smaller items. On page 160, you'll see the calculation for indicator number 7. Here, you'll see in yellow how we scored 8 points. And the calculation is you take current assets, you divide them by current liabilities, and you see where you fall. So in order to have received the full 10 points, we either would have needed about 3.4 million more in current assets. Current assets are defined, they're things like cash, accounts receivable, inventories, or we would have needed to have 1.15 less in current liabilities. This would be like your accrued wages, your accounts payable at the end of the year. So had we had a little bit more, a little bit less in either or, then we would have picked up the next 2 points. On the following page, on page 161, here you'll see the calculation for indicator number 10. So this is the one where last year we scored 0 points. This year we were able to pull 6 points. Essentially, it's total revenues less total expenditures, and then they factor in your debt service and then your ending fund balance for debt service. And all of that calculated for us into a score of 1.1099. So once again here, we wanted to get more than that. In order to receive the full 10 points, we either would have needed $241,000 more in revenues or $431,000 less in expenditures, or the ending fund balance in the debt service fund would have needed to be $241,000 more. On the next page, you'll see the calculation for indicator number 11. So here, like I mentioned earlier, we're at 8. We've been at 8, but the number actually got a little bit closer to 10. And essentially here what they do is they take your administrator's charge to function 21 and function 41, 21 being pretty much your planning and instruction department, and function 41 being the superintendent's office, your finance, your HR, pretty much your central office. And then they compare that to your function 11, which is your teachers and your aide and anything happening in the classroom. Function 12, which is your librarians. Function 13, which is professional development. And function 31, which is counselors. So in order to have received the full 10 points, then we would have needed about $97,000 less in function 21 and 41, or we would have needed to have spent about $835,000 more in functions 11, 12, or 13, or 31. On the next page, on page 163, is where the required disclosures begin. There's 5 required disclosures for the first report: copy of the superintendent's current employment contract, summary schedule for expenditures paid on behalf of the superintendent or each board members, essentially for travel. Number 3 is if there was any compensation or fees received by the superintendent for any consulting activities. Number 4 would be any schedule of any dollar amounts for gifts that were received by executive officers and board members. And then number 5 is if there's any business transactions between the board and the school district. So disclosure number 1, the superintendent's employment contract is available online, which is why it's not included on here. Disclosure number 2, here's a listing for the board members during that time and a description of their reimbursements. Disclosure number 3, outside compensation or fees, none were reported by the superintendent for fiscal year 2019. Disclosure number 4 is gifts received by the executive officers and board members, none were reported. And disclosure number 5, any business transactions between school district and board members, once again, none were reported. So with that said, that concludes my presentation, but I'm available to answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you, Norberto.
Thank you.
Thank you. So if we don't have any questions, we'll move on to item 7C, public comments on the first report. Presenter, Mr. Norberto Rivas, Chief Financial Officer, page 165.
Good evening once again, Board President Licon, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Mr. Chavez. For this item, we just have to go on record and give the public the opportunity to comment on the first report. So with that said, I don't know if Mr. Hernandez or Ms. Cuevas can verify whether anybody has or anybody would like to comment on it.
I have no comments on the side on my email, Mr. Rivas.
Mr. Rivas, I have no teleconferencing users logged in, so I don't see any questions at all.
Thank you. So that concludes this item.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will now proceed then to item 7D. Discussion and possible action to approve seeking 2 TA waivers to continue remote instruction for the second 9 weeks in order to continue to facilitate safe and effective instructional continuity. Presenter, Dr. Jeannie Mesa Chavez, Superintendent, and Dr. Rogelio Segovia, Associate Superintendent. We will be presenting items 71 and 2 together. So 71, TA waiver for time period October 20th, 2020 through November 13th, 2020. And item 72, TEA waiver for time period November 16th, 2020 and December 18th, 2020 as well. Dr. Mesa Chavez.
Good evening.
Go ahead, Dr. Segovia.
Oh, good evening, President Licon, Dr. Mesa, board members, and Dr. Mesa Chavez. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So if you go to page 166 on your board book, you'll find the board memo on this item. Just to provide some context, as you know, we started the school year August 3rd, and the TA gave us 4 weeks of the ability to offer remote instruction only. So we did do that. Starting on September 8th, which was right after Labor Day, we right before that week we had requested a 4-week extension. Now the 4-week extension was granted, but they always have this caveat where yes, they allow you to continue online instruction. However, you do need to bring in some students of those parents that want to come back to on-campus instruction. So starting September 8th, we provided instruction both remote and on campus to those students who are in special populations and also students with connectivity issues. That took us all the way 4 weeks into September 25th. Now, the 9th week was in question, but the district was able to secure an additional week extension to continue with the possibility to offer remote and for those students with connectivity issues and special populations. So we were able to take this group of students all the way to our October 2nd, which then the following week was intercession, and we're currently in intercession. Now, because of the COVID-19 numbers, and if you look at the board memo, those numbers are now outdated. The numbers are now higher than that. El Paso County has 29,887 total positive cases. San Elizario alone has 488. And our surrounding area, which is Socorro, Favens, and Clint, total 1,140 cases. We do have 103 people in ICU, and our hospitalization as of today, earlier today I checked, was 24%. At the time that this board memo was written, the hospitalization rate was 15%, so it has increased. That is the reason why we wanted to submit for an additional extension. Dr. Ocaranza even sent the districts his support via a letter written to Commissioner Morath, where he explains our situation here in the county, which is, if you could find those starting in page 167 of your board book, and you could go all the way to page 169. Then after that, you'll find the actual waiver forms. Again, the information, the waivers is now outdated because I just read the current numbers. They're higher now. So with these waivers, we were seeking to continue in the mode that we're in from October 20th, when we come back after intercession, all the way to December 18th, which is the entire second grading period, the second 9 weeks. And so that's what we were seeking. Unfortunately, TA was silent in our request. In between, we were waiting. We did ask for a follow-up for them. We were continuing to be silent. They did send a regional, I don't know if it's regional or to the state, but I know that the regional districts got an email from TA stating that for anybody interested in submitting a waiver extension, such as the ones we were seeking here, you also have to consider that in the future, we may need to submit a waiver for what they're calling a hold harmless. And as I understand that to be, that's TA will replace our attendance percentages in comparison to 3-year average for funding purposes. Now, there's 2 exceptions that they would accept in this additional waiver, which is closures because of COVID, 5 days of closures because of COVID. The other exception is for high school schedules. We do have the hybrid schedule, the AB day. Those are the only 2 exceptions. And I did read in the guidance that there is if you get one, doesn't guarantee you to get the other waiver. So those are the things that came up. Finally, today late, we got an email from TA. They granted us a 2-week extension. So the 2-week extension would take us all the way to October 30th. If we started to take advantage of this extension the 19th of October, and everybody would return November 2nd, and then we would bring in our phase 3, which is our 35% of parents that wanted to come back. That's kind of the context of what we've seen with this waiver request. Dr. Mesa Chavez?
Thank you, Dr. Segovia, for piecing what's been, it's just been a long process for us. And I will tell you that in all of this, we are seeking the approval of these 2 waivers because it doesn't end for us here today. Should you all approve this, then we would proceed to once again communicate with TA because in good faith, that's what we've tried to do, is we've tried to open our schools. They are open. And we are working with our parents who may have issues of connectivity, who have, even issues when it comes to childcare, in terms of bringing children back to the campuses. All those issues are communicated, to the campus principal. We've sent out the surveys to parents to try to identify. And as many times as we've tried to send out the surveys, we don't have 100% participation, but all of that information was submitted to TA as we were seeking these waivers. And they've given us a 2-week transition. We'll take it. But our intent is, if you all decide to approve this, is that we will communicate once again with TA, indicating where we are, because we do believe in following what the numbers in the county are telling us. And the last thing that we want to do is to put our students or staff in any more danger. Of course, it also needs to be stated and noted that we want to ensure that we've also encouraged our parents, our students, and our staff to continue to follow the social distancing guidelines, to continue the use of wearing a mask, and the continued washing of hands. I believe our team, Mr. Martinez and his collaboration with everybody in the maintenance, custodial, our campus principals, with the assistance of Sir Beto, just everyone on board for different areas, have done a very great job of preparing our campuses to continue to receive our students. But because the numbers are so high, in conversations that we've had with other, with Dr. Ocaranza and other superintendents, it's very clear that the COVID-19 virus is not being spread in schools. It's actually community spread, which we do run the danger of opening up at such a critical time even further to endangering our students and staff. And so we will continue to keep our schools open, but essentially what we've asked TEA is to help us hold on to just having us where we are without adding a big substantial number. And so we'll take the 2 weeks, but we're just going to try to do our best on our end. We are now open for any questions or comments you may have.
I have a question. This is Ms. Hernandez. For the parents that did participate in the survey who opted to send their child back face-to-face, but now with the rising number in COVID cases in the county, opt to keep them at home, do they have to contact the schools, let them know, you know what, I'm not going to send my child back, or how is that going to work?
I think it would be helpful if they did, and it can be, just even letting their child's teacher know that they will not be returning after all. I think that our parents still have the ultimate choice whether to send the kids to school. If the children are sent to school, we're going to do our very best. Like I said, I believe that our campuses are ready to receive children, and that we do have the appropriate safety guidelines in place. However, there is always that concern as a parent that our kids, the kids may get sick. So it would help us if they did contact the teacher, and they can even send an email directly to the campus on that campus email that's been provided for each campus. Any way that they do it will help us prepare either way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Mesa, Mr. Segovia, this is Ms. Garcia. I have a question on the TEA waivers. I know TEA has made it clear that they're only allowing for 2-week intervals at a time, right? So my question is, what are the chances of these getting approved? Because I don't know of any other district asking for waivers all the way up until December, right? So I just want to know, since they're only offering the 2 weeks at a time, every 2 weeks, will we have to be sending more, and will they have to go through us now, or having them been approved through this now, will you just continue to send them, without us?
Well, I think what happens here, Mrs. Garcia, is, the kind of TA is doing a little bit different with different districts depending on how many times they're being contacted. And I can tell you, it was, in our meeting this morning with Dr. Ocaranza, I will admit that I shared some frustration in terms of everything that we're doing, because other neighboring superintendents are also sending, and their support staff are also sending information back and forth to TA. I do know of a neighboring district who got a 3-week extension. But what this allows us, for us, it has been about not interrupting the instruction of our students. And that's why we're seeking the entire, from now until December, because it will take us through the second grading period. And so upon, if you all decide to approve this, it does give us that leeway to continue to reach out to TA and say, look, we have the backing of our board to be able to proceed with this, whether they decide to grant it or not, it's going to be on them. But we will, unless those numbers go down, we may have to just even kind of change the phase-in of the students. Right now, we've indicated that our students, A through M, would do Mondays and Wednesdays, and N through Z would do Tuesdays and Thursdays, with everybody being asynchronous on Fridays. If we do not see the numbers coming down, if I can tell you the frustrating part is that TA has waited, and we have to have communication with our staff. As you saw, email that was forwarded to you that was sent to all district staff. We're just prepared to pivot anytime we hear back from TA. I did mention today when we met with Dr. Ocoranza and the other superintendents, as part of my frustration, I indicated that we needed to have further support from the city, because with everything else being open, the behaviors of individuals need to be changing in order for this pandemic to be a little bit more under control. So I actually said to them, I said, we need major intervention from all the districts, because all the superintendents are in the same boat. They're all trying to seek extensions, and we're having to email TA not once but several times, responding to questions, and that's where we're at.
Yeah, I think it's irresponsible on their part that they're making us jump through hoops in order to get these waivers approved when they're seeing the numbers. I think we're number 2 in the United States right now on cases. And absolutely, our students are getting cheated. They deserve to be in the classroom, but with these numbers, I know that can't be done. So thank you for working on those waivers. I had another question, but I'll come back to it if I remember. I can't remember right now.
All righty. Any other questions?
Yes, I do. Dr. Chavez, on a different subject, still with the virus. I'm not sure how true it is, but I heard that some school districts are actually canceling their UIL athletic activities.
Well, we do know, Mr. Madrid, that there are some districts that have opted not to have, for sure, middle school athletics to try to minimize. I know that there was discussion today of maybe perhaps only having varsity games. But then I also know that there was discussion today where they're saying, well, wait a minute, we're asking for these extensions, but we're not willing to close down athletics. And I'm going to tell you that, if the decision was just up to me, well, I think you all would know I'd rather err on the side of caution to ensure that we continue to protect our students as well as our staff. We do have, we're very proud of our coaches, very proud of our students, because they've done an awesome job staying safe. They've added this level of responsibility to keeping themselves safe, as that's yet another feather for our Eagles that they take seriously in the sports that they're participating. But they have seen, and we saw it firsthand on Friday when our tennis team was impacted because a neighboring school district had to close. And so I will tell you that there was significant support. It was not total and complete because not every superintendent was at the meeting this morning. But those of us who were present were in support of perhaps closing down athletics to really send a message of how safe we want to keep our students, because there has already been a lot of our programs throughout Region 19 area who have been impacted. So the conversations are happening. If this continues, I think we're going to get a more unanimous support from all 12 superintendents. I know that the Hudspeth County area superintendents, we're going to be having a meeting with their local folks, and that's 3 districts out of the complete 12 Region 19 districts. And they were going to be getting back to Dr. Aguirre and the other superintendents, because I think they're moving in that direction as well. They just needed to have one more meeting tonight before arriving to that decision.
Yeah, because I had heard Fabens was looking into that very seriously.
Well, Fabens is actually, and I have this straight from the superintendent there, that they did close down the athletics out of precaution. And it's not so much the kids, but it's the adults, and those are that's a direct quote from the superintendent that I'm sharing. And so, with that being stated, I know that Ms. Jacks, I know there's an item. We have 8D discussion/information regarding return to play /spectators. I know that we started with a plan that yet again had to be adjusted. Because everybody wants to go see the kids play. We get that. but we've seen it throughout the county where seasons are being cut short. And my thought initially was, we want the kids to have the experience, but we also need to be very careful that we're not putting our students as well as our staff in a situation where they're going to be exposed. And I'll use the example from Friday. It was coming out on the news that our neighboring school district was being closed. If we would have sent them, we would have had parents upset because they would have said, hey, why are we sending them into an area that's being closed and we don't know what's going on with all the details. And we know that the superintendent there was trying to do her best and trying to keep everyone safe and be responsible about what was happening in her district. But then I also know we have the other half of parents who, and we had some parents who called and said, well, why didn't we send them? And for me, I am going to be very clear because I care deeply about our students. I care deeply about our staff and our community. I'm going to continue to insist that we need to take precautions, even if that means closing off to spectators completely, if we have to go there, or if we have to cancel the athletic season. And as much as it pains me to say that, because none of this has been easy to do, I think that this is a very unprecedented time, but I'd rather us get through this together than have to lose a student or lose a staff member because we kept ourselves open unnecessarily. And I think that that's a bigger message to send to TA when we are 16 miles of Sanelli. And I think Mr. Martinez could probably tell me it's a little bit less, but round it off, I guess I'm going to say 16 miles. And for our numbers to continue to be rapidly increasing is very alarming. And all of us need to be on the same page about this because it is not easy to decide. But, when you're dealing with kids' lives, staff's lives, I've taken that very seriously.
I'd like to make a comment. As a parent, of an athlete and a senior, I think that I myself would love to see my child play, but I'm willing to sacrifice that in order for her to experience that. And I would hate for any student to be put in harm's way. And I know that Ms. Garcia has already expressed the same feeling in one of our previous board meetings when this whole issue came up about the spectators. She expressed that she didn't want to have her son, who's a football player, exposed to additional, risk factors. And when you all came to us, I know that a lot of parents are upset, but we need to understand that, these, like you said, are unprecedented times. We cannot put our students or our staff or anybody, for that matter, in danger. When you all came to us in a previous board meeting, looking for suggestions from the board, when Ms. Jacks presented this, that's what Ms. Garcia had stated, that she did not want her son to be exposed. And it was suggested by her that we not have any spectators, and we all agreed. So I just want to apologize for the backlash that, administration has been getting from the parents, because we did all agree as a board to not have any spectators. And I just want to thank you for everything that you all are doing.
Yes, I want to clarify my comment on that meeting.
Garcia, I'm sorry to interject. This is Priscilla Mata, legal counsel. I apologize, but I don't think we're on that agenda item just yet. I think we're on the item of waivers. So I would ask that the board limit their discussion to the subject at hand. I do believe there's an item regarding sports and spectators coming up. So just be patient. Thank you.
Item 8D. 8D.
Yes, I apologize. I was just commenting on the superintendent's comment about the spectators.
Thank you. Thank you. But going back to the waivers, I honestly do believe that it is a responsible thing to do amidst of all these, the rising in COVID cases. And I have to be very thankful to the administration for doing their due diligence and working so hard and continuing to go to TA and say and have these conversations with them, whether they're approved or not thing is the district is doing right by what we have to do. And this is right by all our students, teachers, and community. So with that said, for me, it is very important that, well, for me, I would definitely agree on the waivers. Again, it's on TA's hands. If they approve them or not approve them, the district is doing what they need to do. And thank you, administration, for continuing being that advocating, for continuing to adhere to them and literally, plea practically at this point to TEA, because that's what we're doing. We're pleading to TEA. And, I understand we do have to keep the schools open for the students that need to be on campus. But if we can keep the majority or some of them at home, again, it will help. It will help some.
Thank you, Mrs. Licon. And again, I reiterate, it's a team effort. Everyone has done a big, gigantic part in their own way to contributing. And, just on record, I would like our parents to know, if they're listening, if they're, get to see this, that they make the choice for their child and they are welcomed in our schools. And if at this time they feel for their own safety of their own children that they want to keep them home, that they can. And I also want to let them know that our district is open to receive children whose parents decide to send them in. And all that we ask is that we hear from you, and we will continue to send our reentry survey to ensure that we try to get the best possible response. So this is on record also for TA in the event that they should have questions, because our district is open. We're just opting to err on the side of caution to add any additional since our numbers are so high. We can't hear you.
Further discussion, Ms. Licon.
Hold on. Okay, do we have any further discussion on items 71 and 72?
No.
I move.
Can we have a motion on the floor, please?
I move to approve the two item D 1 and 2, the waivers as presented.
I second. This is Ms. Hernandez.
So we have a motion on the floor by Mrs. Garcia, seconded by Mrs. Hernandez. Mr. Madrid, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Okay, Mrs. Garcia?
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez?
Aye.
Ms. Romero?
Aye.
And Ms. Licon? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, now we will proceed to agenda item 8, reports, information, and presentation. Items 8A through C are for information only. Do you have any questions on those information items? No? Okay, if not, then we'll proceed to item 8D, discussion and information regarding return to play / spectators. Presenter, Ms. Christine Jacks, Athletics Director, and this one begins on page 193 in our board book.
Mrs. Licon, I'm going to jump in just right prior to Ms. Jacks. The information that you received in terms of this is where we are most updated. We had initially, like I indicated previously, we had initially started with having a plan and allowing spectators. And the plan before you is actually now edited to show to account for senior parents. And Ms. Jacks, if you'd like to take over from there.
Okay. Good evening, Board President Licon, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Jeannie Mesa Chavez. Changed the virtual background, so it should show the football field, but I don't know if I show up because I don't show up over here. We were wanting to, as Dr. Mesa Chavez said, we started with a plan to allow parents for just the athletes to come in, and then we updated it based on Dr. Ocaranza's information that he had given us, and we wanted to give them senior nights. So that is what we did, and we changed it again. That's the one that you have that was updated on the 7th of October. On last Friday, we did have the volleyball parent night, and it came out very nice. And then we are planning to, on this Friday, to having a senior night for the football, cheerleading, the trainers, the starlets, and the band kids, where they have submitted a list of their seniors and 2 parents or guardians that they want to come join them, so that they can celebrate senior night with their senior. And then other than that, we would not have any spectators at all. So I want to commend our coaches. They have done an excellent job, and the kids have been, following what they're supposed to be doing. And they are doing the very best they can to keep all the kids safe. And they're following the protocols and doing everything that they have to do. So at this time, we are not doing the spectators, and it will just be, the kids, except for the one senior night, because the priority is keeping, like you said, we don't want to expose them any more than we have to. And looking at the news, where a lot of the other districts have been having to postpone their games and put other activities off, we've been able to maintain ours. And our trainers have done an excellent job as well of tracking the kids and where they are as far as their safety. And with that, are there any questions?
That I do want to commend, all our coaches and our athletes, because they have done everything to maintain, for one, follow the safety protocols, but maintain the healthy, that maintain themselves healthy. They've come back and they're playing, they're going to their practices, and it's been wonderful to know that the children here at San Elizario I.S.D, our athletes, continue to play because they are doing whatever is required to do to have that those safety measures in place. And I have to commend the parents too, because I see that they are sacrificing. I mean, it's true, like Ms. Hernandez says, what parent, senior parent, junior parent, freshman parent, a sophomore parent, wouldn't want to be there with their child? And I know that this is the time for the senior parents, and I'm grateful that they're allowed to have this senior night to where they can be with their little ones, have those 2 parents, but they're sacrificing because they know at the end of the day, they're letting their athletes play, and they're letting the little ones thrive, be out of the routines of being in front of the computer daily. They're thriving. So, it is difficult, and it's hard. It's heartbreaking to see what we're having to go through. But I'm very proud of San Elizario I.S.D, because again, here you go. You're seeing that they've managed, they maintained what they need to do to keep our little ones playing. So, with that, I'm very grateful to everyone, including the parents, because I see that is a sacrifice on the parents, sacrifice on the students that want their parents out there. But, sadly enough, with this COVID, it's safety first. It's safety first, and coming together. We will have those parents that will agree, and then those that will not agree. Then we have to think and do what's best for all students, all athletes, all UIL events. So thank you, because they've done well. They've done excellent up until now. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, anything else?
Yes. I'm gonna say my sentiments are like Mr. Goins. As long as we are asking for favors for face-to-face, I don't think we should even be pushing. I don't care who community member comes up to us. It's safety first. I mean, it's not just a common cold. It's somebody's life. So I don't think we should be pushing for anybody to be out there on the spectators. As long as we're getting these waivers, as long as we see these increases, we shouldn't have it. I mean, me personally, I mean, I'm for sports big time, but if Dr. Chavez came to me tomorrow and said, you know what, we're going to cancel all sports, I'm in support because I mean, again, we're messing with kids' lives. We're messing with staff, parents. It's not a cool, not a cool. So, or any administration does this.
And thank you for that, Mr. Madrid. And you know, I just reiterate, the coaches have done a wonderful job, and I know their conversations, and I know everything's after Fabian shut down, and they are coming back next Monday, so they are only going to be closed for this week, and they will pick up with their athletics next week. I was in a meeting with some of the ADs this afternoon, and you know, that wasn't because of the athletes. It had nothing to do with them, but they will be coming back on Monday. But there is a lot of worry that they are going to shut it down, and you know, we have to follow what the CDC guidelines say, and we have to follow the trends to keep our kids safe. And I wouldn't want to see them go down and have to stop playing because we have made it so far. But you know, we don't know what the city's going to come up with, and I'm just telling my coaches, just stay strong and keep doing what you're doing, and we just take it day by day. So, and I appreciate the support that I've gotten from the board and the assistance in making sure that all these things are going on.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Jack. This is Ms. Hernandez. Thank you. And I just wanted to say, again, what I said earlier, you know, when you all came to us looking for suggestions, it was suggested that there would be no spectators, and we all agreed. And I just want to thank you all for the work that you all are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez.
Thank you.
And I agree. When we did talk about this before, the cases were high, and then there was a steady decline. September, the middles of September, it wasn't so bad, you know, so I just thought, you know, it's getting better. We're getting better. Maybe we can allow them to come back, but it's gotten increasingly worse. And just like everything, everyone's entitled to change their minds. And that's the beautiful thing of being, you know, a team, because we all have our difference of opinions. But yeah, cases are high now, and that's just something we have to, you know, live with right at the moment. And like I said, things are changing daily, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So thank you, Ms. Jax, for everything you've done.
Thank you, ma'am. And you know, when you're talking about everything's changing, middle school, you know, we have the volleyball and the football going on, and some of the Canyon quit playing middle school, so they're out of the picture. So we had a meeting yesterday trying to fix middle school, and you know, we fixed it, and then something else happened. So we changed it like 3 times yesterday, just the volleyball and the football for middle school. But you know, we just do what we got to do, and we fix it, and we move on. And if we change it 5 times a day, we change it, but we just keep going. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jack.
Thank you, Ms. Romero.
Okay. So without any further discussion?
No.
No, ma'am.
Okay, well, thank you. We leave that one with just a lot of patience, time, and, you know, communication, and let's just keep moving forward. So we'll now proceed to item 9, next meeting date, special board meeting, Saturday, October 17th, 2020 at 8:30 a.m. Special board meeting, mission Progressing Together, Tuesday, October 20th, 2020 at 9 a.m. in Spanish. A special board meeting for that also, mission Progressing Together, on Tuesday, October 20, 2020 at 5 p.m. That one will be in English. And then we have our next regular board meeting, Wednesday, November 18th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. We'll proceed now to item 10, the adjournment. We have a motion to adjourn at 8:31 p.m.
I
second.
Motion by Ms. Garcia, second by Mrs. Hernandez. Mr. Madrid, how do you vote? Mr. Chavez?
Aye.
Mrs. Garcia,
Aye.
Mrs. Hernandez,
Aye.
hey, Ms. Romero,
Aye.
and Ms. Licon, aye. Motion to adjourn. We've adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Please be safe and stay healthy.
Thank you, everyone. Sir Horacio, thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Horacio, again
You
for
all
everything.
keep safe.